Good afternoon, everyone. Gabe Velazquez here with you, transfertradsolutions.com on a Tuesday. Today is the 18th day of August. We had a bit of a sell-off yesterday, which extended to today overnight, but now we are basically meandering. Let's get right into the charts um, and start with the S&P, which is a very interesting level here. The sell-off is attributed to higher rates, semiconductors selling off, and so on and so forth. So if you take a look here at where we are currently, we are just hovering along these lows from last week. We had that overnight sell-off, as I mentioned. In fact, there was a breakout trade here that we were looking at. And now let's see what this does. Now, again, this is all predicated on rates. If rates can break above that 470, then I think we probably take another leg lower down to this demand. However, if they cool off a little bit and back off, I think we probably rally right back up into these supply zones. So it today, after the yesterday, a lot of the selling really happened overnight, and we're just kind of sitting here meandering about this afternoon. Still about an hour left to go. We'll see if it actually breaks here. I think one of the things to look at is if Nvidia, which again, I wrote about this several weeks ago. I also wrote about Apple. So again, subscribe to the newsletter if you want some information. I wrote over the weekend how Apple acts um, as a defensive stock when the semiconductors are down. I also wrote about you'll notice that the fact that we couldn't get any traction on Nvidia above 225 and that it's pulling back is also impacting the market. So, a lot of these leading stocks right now with all rotation, you got to pay attention because, again, this could be a leading indicator for some of you to get an edge. NASDAQ similarly, by the way, the NASDAQ has still not made any new highs. In fact, it's way below these levels that I've been talking about this videos and so forth. And now, in fact, it's vulnerable here. The NASDAQ 100 futures are vulnerable to breaking below this 29,344 level, which you'll notice how we bounced off of that last couple of early August. And if that breaks that, then you're probably headed uh, possibly even testing these lows. We'll have to see. But again, this will be predicated on some of these mega caps, particularly Nvidia and some of the chip stocks. If they can, particularly if Nvidia can't hold 200 a share, by the way, the earnings are coming out next week on Nvidia, so that'll be interesting to see. Um, all of this is really not moving the VIX, which is really fascinating. This you can take it two ways. You can say it's still market's complacent and probably needs to get a much bigger sell-off to get the VIX maybe just up to 20, but we'll see. And all about rates today. Been talking about. It's interesting because all the big sell-off is in the 30-year. That's bouncing back in the TLT, which is hitting lows we haven't seen in like 20 some odd years. You got to go back to like 19, what is it, like 19, 2004, I'm sorry, 2004, something right in here. So that's the big deal everybody's talking about today. Um, all of that is really not moving the dollar that much so far. You can see the dollar's basically just in this trading range. And I think if rates do continue going higher, we probably break above 100, and that will pressure metals. Speaking of which, you can see the metals are under a little bit of pressure. And then basically just kind of tracking the dollar index in a sense, because gold can't break above 4,500. It's got support at 43.71. And I think watching the dollar is going to give you some ideas as to what the metals are going to do next. Similarly with silver um, and copper. Copper actually is falling off that supply zone. And let's see if it probably gets down to 6, maybe a buying opportunity there. With oil, again, it's all news driven. It's more or less in a consolidation, very tightly coiled up. Means the next uh, piece of news comes out of the Middle East will probably move it. If it's positive, obviously it'll move oil down. If it's negative, we'll continue to move oil higher. There's a gap to fill here at 86 and the bigger gap at 90. I think 90 is probably in the offing here. Uh, Interesting move in nat gas. It's kind of been scraping the bottom here along the 262 level here. It's attempting a break above 280. If it does that, now remember this is the third time here, so it's probably likely to break and fill a gap down at 290. Ultimately, you got to get above 3 to have any kind of bottoming process here. But it is interesting today. We got inventories on Thursday, and then I keep mentioning the grain markets. Those are still pretty interesting, very volatile, but approaching some very key levels longer term. This is what I'm focused on in the grains, these longer term charts. 1255 on soybeans, um, 718 on wheat, and $5 bushel on corn. Particularly corn, could be in the midst of a massive breakout if it breaks 5 after these huge, that's what it tends to do. These huge bases really could set up for a big, massive breakout, but we'll see. So all in all, again, we're going to have an interesting end of the week here. We have Jackson Hole next week. We do have a bunch of earnings still coming out. Chinese stocks, Baidu is reported today, Baba, we got Home Depot, Walmart, Ross stores, all kinds of retailers coming up starting tomorrow. There are going to be some interesting opportunities there. Um, but overall, I think, as we head into that week seasonal, that's also something to watch. See if there's going to be some further downside or this is just going to be one of these one-offs again. All right. Okay. Have a great day and have, again, subscribe to the newsletter. Give me a thumbs up and I'll see you on Friday. Take care.